Knowing how to use your graphing calculator effectively is essential on the ACT math section. Seriously, you guys are missing out on easy points if you don't know all of the key features of the graphing calculator before you take this test. So let's dive in. I want to show you the top 10 most essential features that you should know before you take the ACT math section. I would argue that the fraction button is one of the most important buttons on the calculator. Even though it's a simple idea, it can help with a lot of different situations. This first question is a perfect example. I'm going to type it without using the fraction button. 6 square root of 28 divided by 3 square root 7. And it's going to tell me that the answer is 28. That's not even an answer choice because it misinterpreted what I was telling it to do. But now if I use the fraction button, which is alpha y equals, and I select the first one, now I can type it exactly as I see it. And I know it's going to get the order of operations right. So I'm going to type 6 square root of 28 over 3 root 7. And instantly it tells me that it's 4. So sometimes I overuse the fraction button when I don't necessarily need to because it can't hurt to use it, but it can hurt not to use it. One of the best features on the graphing calculator is your ability to install programs that can help answer all formula-based questions for you really quickly and easily. These programs are 100% allowed on both the SAT and the ACT, but you do have to install them. These are the only things I'm going to show you that are not pre-installed on your TI-84. So here I've got a question that asks for the slope of this line that goes through those 2 points. So I can hit my program button and I can find the slope program. And when I hit enter, it's going to ask me for all the relevant information. So x1 is -5, y1 is 2, x2 is 6, y2 7, and instantly it tells me the slope is 5 over 11, so it's J. So programs can help if you don't know the formulas or if you just want to save time and avoid careless mistakes on the formulas that you do know. Okay, let's look at one more. This one is for an arithmetic sequence, which comes up often on ACT math. We're given the first 5 terms of the sequence, and it asks for the 25th term of the sequence. And so now I'm going to find my arithmetic sequence formula program. And it asks for any term given. So I'll just enter the first term, but it doesn't matter. And it asks, which term is that? So I'm going to tell it it's the first term. What's the common difference? Well, let's see. Every number is going up by 14, it looks like. 7 plus 14 is 21. 21 plus 14, 35, and so on and so on. So that would be the common difference. And I'm finding the 25th term. And immediately it tells me that it's 343. So the answer would be B here. Now, since these don't come pre-installed on your calculator, I am offering several of these programs totally free right now. And I also teach you how to download and install them in just a few minutes. So if you're interested in that, make sure to follow our page and check the link in our bio, and I'll give you a link to download and install those free programs. Imaginary numbers come up on almost every ACT math section. On the new enhanced ACT, it's been on every single test. So here I've told that I is the imaginary unit and I'm asked for 7 plus 6i. So the I button is right here above the decimal in blue. And since it's in blue, I just hit second decimal and I see that there's a lowercase I. So once I understand that, I can just straight up type these 7 plus 6i squared, and immediately it tells me that it's 13 plus 84i. So even if you know how to square that and do the operations with I, it's just really fast and efficient, saves time for all the difficult questions at the end of the ACT math section. A lot of students don't realize that the graphing calculator has a feature that will find greatest common factors and least common multiples for you. So let me show you where it is. It's in the math section, and most of the things are in this first column. But if I go over one column to the number column and scroll down a little bit, I'll see that there's LCM and GCD. And what GCD stands for is greatest common divisor, even though we often call it the greatest common factor. And so for this first question, it says, what is the greatest common factor of 60, 84, and 126? So I'm going to select this greatest common divisor feature. And unfortunately, it doesn't let you do all 3 numbers at once. I can only do 2 numbers at once. So I'm going to enter 60, 84, the first 2 numbers. And it's going to tell me that the greatest common factor of those is 12. And then I'm just going to do it again with 12 and then the third number. So now I'm going to enter it 12 and then the last number 126. And it shows me that the greatest common factor is 6. So the answer would be B here. And this applies to least common multiple questions like the second one as well. This one says, what is the least common multiple of 60, 70, and 90? So let's go back into math and over to the number column. And now I'm going to select LCM. And I'm going to do the same thing. I can't do 3 numbers at once. So 60, 70, enter. And then I'm going to do it one more time for the third number. So 420, previous answer, and 90. And it tells me that 1260 is the least common multiple, so it's J. I want to show you the cleanest, quickest way to do matrices operations on the graphing calculator now. So here we've got 2 matrices that I'm supposed to multiply, and these ones are not as easy as when you add or subtract matrices. So what I can do is hit alpha zoom on the calculator, and it will ask me for the dimensions of the first matrix. So the first matrix has 2 rows and 2 columns. So I'm going to select that and then say, okay. And it's going to pop it right into the main screen. So I'm just going to type it 2, -5, -3, 4 times. And then I'm just going to hit alpha zoom again. But the second one has 2 rows and 1 column only. So I'm going to change it to that. And then enter that to -1. And instantly it tells me that it's 9, -10. So the answer would be D here. When you're looking for a special button that's not on the main screen of the TI-84, I want to show you the fastest way to get there usually. You can hit alpha window and it gives you this little function pop up. And here you've got options for absolute value, log base, to do a cubed root, and so on. So in this first question, if I have an absolute value question, I can just select that, abs, and it's going to put the bars in so I can just type it exactly like I see it in the question and be extra safe. So I'm going to do that, minus, and then I'm just going to hit alpha window again and select abs and do -3 minus 12. And boom, it tells me it's -3 really quick and efficiently. The next one, we have a log base question. And even though we've got the log button right here, that doesn't allow us to put the base number in if I type just log on the left side. So instead, I can go back to alpha window and select log base here. And now it puts that little space at the bottom to put the base number in. So log base 2 of the square root of 8 is 1.5. So that's probably 3/2, but I can even convert that to a fraction if I really wanted to show me, yes, it's 3/2. There are so many features to the graphing calculator, but this video is just to remind you that one of the main ones is just remembering that we can graph any function on here and find the key features by hitting y equals. And so in this one, for example, if I'm trying to match the graph of this absolute value function to its equation, I can just type it exactly as I see it in the answer choices. Let's see which one matches if I'm not sure. So I'm going to type the first answer choice, negative. And then if I hit alpha window and select abs, I can type x minus 3 plus 2. And I can hit graph and it shows me, no, that is not the graph that I see on this question. So now I can go back to y equals and type the next answer choice, which is very similar. I just need to change x minus 3 to x plus 3. And now when I hit graph, it shows me, yeah, that's the answer. It looks like it matches up all the features. So the answer would be B here. So never forget, you've got y equals to graph functions and find any features if you want. Most students taking the ACT math don't realize that you can solve a linear system of equations question really quickly and easily on the graphing calculator. You can hit the apps button and select the 9th one on mine that says polysmult 2. And the second option is simultaneous equation solver. And these are just the settings. You'll never have to change anything about this. So I'm just going to say next, which is this graph tab. And then I just enter the coefficients in front of each variable. So it's 2x. So I hit 2 and then I type and hit enter and then minus 1y equals 7. And then I just do the same for the second equation, -4, enter through plus and do 2y and 2, enter. And then I just hit this solve tab right here, which is the graph button. And it says, okay, there's no solution. We didn't do anything wrong. That just means the answer is J here. I want to show you a very underrated feature on the graphing calculator, the polynomial root finder. So what I can do if I'm trying to find the roots, which are also called the zeros of a function, or the x-intercepts or the solutions, is just go into apps and select this ninth one that says polysmult2. It means polynomial simulator. And then I can select the first one, polynomial root finder. And the only thing I have to do is make sure that I'm entering the right degree of the polynomial. So in this first question, the highest degree is x cubed. So I'm going to enter order 3. And I would strongly suggest to always select A plus BI format, because then it's going to even give you the imaginary solutions to this polynomial. And then when I select next, all I do is I enter the coefficients. So it's 1x cubed plus 1x squared minus 8x minus 12. And then I hit solve, which is this graph button right here. And immediately it tells me that the roots are 3 and -2. So the answer is C. It's really quick. Remainder questions come up very often on ACT math. I think they like them a lot because you can only use the calculator so much, since the calculator usually gives you decimal answers and not remainders. But I want to show you that the calculator can actually always give you remainder answers as well. So here I'm asked for the least positive number that has a remainder of 5 when divided by 7 and a remainder of 3 when divided by 5. So if I go into math and go over to the number column and scroll down a little bit, I'll see remainder. And so what I do is I enter the number I want to divide into first. So I'm going to test out answer A first. So I'm going to divide into 20, and I'm going to select that I'm going to divide it by 7, which is this first choice. And I'm going to be shown that the remainder is 6. So that means that's not the answer, because this number had to have a remainder of 5 when divided by 7. So that means that A is out, and I'm just going to move on to B. So I'm going to do the same thing, math, number, and I'm going to go down to remainder. And now I'm going to select 27 divided by 7. And it's going to show me the remainder is 6. So that's not the answer either. Let's move on to C. Now, instead of having to keep going back into math, I can just go up and highlight the previous one if I want, and then change it to the new number of 33. That shows me that the remainder is 5. So that works. But then it also has to have a remainder of 3 when divided by 5. So I can do that with 5. And it shows me, yes, the remainder is 3. So the answer is C here. Okay, so we can use this for questions that don't even mention remainder. As long as you recognize that a remainder is involved, like this next one, this is one of the top 10 most commonly asked ACT math questions. We have a repeating decimal, and we're asked which one of these numbers is the 323rd digit. And this question is only about the remainder. So what we can do is do this one more time. I'm going to select remainder. And now the key is I have to know that I'm taking 323 and dividing it by 4, because there are 4 repeating digits here. And when I do that, it tells me that the remainder is 3. And what that means in this question, which you often see, is that it's just the 3rd digit in these repeating decimals. So the answer would be A here. So if you see that you've got a remainder question, feel free to always use that feature. So make sure you know all 10 of these calculator skills. They will save you a lot of time and bring your score up really quickly. Now, if you want to learn more calculator skills and also just expand your math fundamentals for the ACT math section, I have a course called HacktheACT, where I teach you all calculator skills you need to know. I give you 28 calculator programs to install, and I have a full math course where I teach you all kinds of math fundamentals and have tons of practice questions from actual ACTs over recent years. So check out the link in the bio if you're interested. It's HacktheACT.com.